Hello, all you rappy people out there. Welcome to Tackle Rappy Podcast. I'm Timo. I'm joined here by Brenty. We decided to do a podcast here based on our love for the game. We are not professionals, but we are professional fans, but that's about it. Couch coaches, like they would call it. In our first episode, we're definitely gonna aim, just so that you guys are aware. Brenton, you can back me up on this, but we're gonna aim at being controversial. We are not going to hide any opinions that we might have. So brace yourself for impact. If you are sensitive, maybe skip till the end of the podcast. Roll credits. In general, we love the game. Our passion for it will be evident throughout all the. We are going to be focusing our first episodes primarily on the Six Nations, the British and Irish Lions squad, which is based primarily on the performance in the Six Nations. Gonna do some covering on some news here and there related to the club competitions like the EPCR, the Champions Cup, the URC. Gonna be discussing our opinions regarding the matches throughout the Six Nations, what we think. We're going to look at players. We're going to look at teams. We're going to look at breakthrough players. We're going to look at which players might be over the wall, which teams, in our opinion, is not going to be performing. And we might cover some news, some juicy news at the end. Our opinion on in regards to some of the club competitions, the new rule changes that they implemented in Six Nations. We're going to have a look at that. And you sit back, enjoy. If you do like it, though, do give us a like, do subscribe. We're going to do 2 episodes a week. Do a post weekend episode, Brenton.
Yes. I think obviously this is our first episode. I think we'll start with the Six Nations, and then we'll just jump straight into it.
Let's go. What's the first juicy match we're looking at? Wait, let's skip that. Let's start with the rule change before we even go into anything. What is this rule change? You read
So,
up on it.
a lot of them aren't very new. The first one is obviously the 20-minute red card. They've already tested that out in the Autumn Nation series. But what that means basically is now that a player can be sent off for 20 minutes, and after 20 minutes, another player can come on and replace him. So I think the aim of this is obviously to punish a player and not a team. I know this rules in specifically has gained a lot of hate or controversy, but for me, I actually really like it. I think if they called it an orange card instead of a red card, maybe people would understand it more, and it wouldn't have been so controversial. You know, rugby is a rough, tough game, and
It
I think
ultimately stays a contact sport. So
100%
I feel it's got its pros, it's got its cons. I feel teams that are reliant on milking penalties and milking situations where players are tackled, like for example without the ball and those kind of
no,
things, they're not going to benefit out of it. But I do
no.
feel you're more physical teams in the sense because let's face it, your fly off gets sent off in the second minute of a match. Your match is pretty over if you can't replace him.
Yeah, no, I agree. I also feel like a tight neck-on-neck game can be over, like you just said, within the first few minutes. If one of your star players goes off because of a head-on-head, it might have not been purposeful, or accident. It might have been accidental, and that might have cost you the game. But there is still full red cards. That doesn't mean that the 20-minute red card is the only red card. If you obviously go and punch Antoine de Pont, like I'm sure a lot of the players do want to, you'll go off and for the rest of the remainder of the game, and there will be no replacement for you in your team.
Yeah, back in the day, there was a saying that if a team doesn't want to beat a scrum off, that scrum off's not a good scrum. So I think everybody feels the same on that.
Yes.
And
So, in my opinion, it's a good rule change. I like that one. The second one, also, in my opinion, I like this one very much. I've actually seen this. Was it during Champions Cup? I saw this. Um, but this is more for people that actually go and attend the match in the stadium, and that's the in-stadium referee explanation. So what this basically means is when the referee talks and explains a card or a penalty or whatever, it will play over the mic or over the speakers in the stadium, which is a game changer for me. I've went to the Shark Tank and watched the Sharks play, and then you miss the smallest thing. The whole game stops and you have no idea what's going on, and you have to rewatch the game or the highlights when you get home to
Yeah,
find
and
out.
unless you know all the hand signals or the referee signals that they would give,
Yes,
you're pretty
yes,
blind. Well, look, they've been doing that in American football for ages, and it does work out well because everybody stays informed. So I
yes.
definitely like that. I'm still on the fence about the 20-minute red card in general. But yeah, I feel
Yeah,
the in stadium explanations is a fantastic initiative.
yeah. The first two, I'm all for them. The third one, I'm not the biggest fan of this one. I feel like sometimes this one feels more like they are protecting certain players too much, and that is the new scrum half protection, where the number 9 will now get to live a more charmed existence after the latest tweaks to the rules by World Rugby. While a scrum half cannot be played while the ball is near tackle, ruck, or maul. I'm just reading this off of this thing. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this one. You know, to me, this sort of um, you know,
It it
it's
it
supposed to.
borderlines ridiculousness because now the normal frustration and stuff that would be caused by a high-tier scrum off on his opponent is basically eliminated.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of this one. But that's just me. The idea is to promote cleaner play and potential allow for less stoppages at the breakdown. Yeah, I mean, like I said.
It seems like it's to promote teams with weaker scrums and poorer scrum offs at the end of.
Then the fourth one, restart time limits. I like this one. I like the fact that rugby is trying to fasten the game. I just don't like it if they do it at the expense of certain other aspects of the game. But this one I like. The shot clock has become a well-established part of rugby for penalties and so basically. What will happen is a scrum or a line out must be formed within 30 seconds of the ball going out of play. You see a lot of, especially with the lineouts, a team might be chasing by 5 points. It will be the opposition line out in the last 5 minutes of a play, and the opposition will just drag it out. They will walk slowly to the line, even setting up a scrum just to try and get that shot, that timer, into
Something
the red.
something England is famous for.
And so to me, I like this one. Um, Speed up the game, but like I said, not at the expense of certain other aspects of the game. And then the last one. Um, so this one I also really like. In fact, there's only one I don't really like, which is the scrum of protection. The fifth one I really like this one. So basically, what happens is when they kick the ball into touch for a line out, there's tick in the ball that tells exactly where the ball has went out. I do think that sometimes the ref takes advantage or maybe misinterprets where the ball went out, and it can cost a team. So for me, with this technology, we'll know exactly the ball went out here, and this is where the line out needs to happen.
But yeah, it's always been a game of help sort of things to just
Yeah,
get
well,
clarity on
yes.
exactly where, and in a dire situation, whether the ball is out behind the dead ball line or it's out before the dead ball line if it's a penalty for the corner.
100%. But I do think we stay in 2025, and we should make use
Well,
of the technology that's available to us.
the way things are going now, we're gonna basically be sitting with artificial intelligence playing each other in the near future in any case. So
Well, probably South Africa, with where we are, will be the only people playing with people.
yeah. Okay, so
um,
let's have a look. Let's move over to the first match. What is the schedule looking like? Let's
so
take a look at that.
the first match is France versus Wales, which is probably the least juiciest of the games. I think this is going to be a walkover. France has chosen a very strong team. I don't know why. Wales is not in the best place. Wales is in a very, very dark place. I think they haven't won a game in the last 10 or 20 games, if I'm not mistaken. I can check that. But yeah, I don't know why risk a player like LBB or DuPont or even Malvaka for a game that they can't probably win with their B team. I think they will just want to go to maximize that point lead. To have a good
I think
start.
I think I think that is exactly what it is. I think if you look at the bigger picture of the Six Nations, it's going to be a points game. So I think France is going for the jugular. I think they're definitely going to go to get as many tries and as many
Yeah,
points over Wales
yeah.
to possibly help them
Yeah.
later in the competition
And
to
they will
maybe.
get, yeah, they will get a lot of it. I mean, they are at home in front of 80,000 fans. Um, so I honestly think they will win by 40 at least, you know.
Yeah, I cannot see it being anything less than 40.
Yeah,
I would actually be truly surprised if Wales actually score any points,
yeah,
to be honest with you.
yeah. Hoping for the best. We're not hating on Wales or anything. We really hope they can pull a rabbit out the hat, but I just don't see it happening.
Yes, yes. And what's the lineups looking like there? I mean,
So I've
Wales
got,
is very, very, very weak. In the general sense, if I quickly look at their things, they brought back Liam Williams on fullback. Liam Williams was very, very good a couple of years ago. I just think he's playing in a struggling team. Um, they've got one or two forwards that might be standing out, but in general, I just don't see enough in this team to really rate them for a win at all. I don't see them making any leeway or anything like that. And I feel that later in the Six Nations, when Wales are gonna be competing against Italy for finishes last.
yeah. I do think that it is a pity of that Dewey Lake is injured. Out of all the Wales players, he's actually one of the very, very decent players. I think is a young player as well. If I'm not mistaken, he's like 23 or 24. Um, uh,
I think the thing with Wales is they're battling with. It seems like they're battling with growth in their youth
yeah.
ranks. It doesn't
You see,
seem like they've got a lot of people coming through the youth ranks.
there's also a lot of politics. So yeah, there's also a lot of politics that I've sort of heard through the grapevine. I don't know all the details about it, but I've heard that also has a big impact on
I
why they
think
are where they are.
them losing one of their star players to the in American Football League and stuff like that. I don't think that helped them at all. But to be brutally honest, I don't think he would have made an impact in a battling team like this. I
Yeah,
really don't think he would have come in and really made a difference in that team. Might have done a couple of things as an individual brilliance, but I don't think he would have made a large enough impact.
yeah, and
Um,
then yeah, sorry, go.
no, no. If you look, well, if we look at France on the other hand, you're mentioning they're playing basically a team that we would have expected to see a year ago in the World Cup.
Yeah,
They're
I
playing one of the best hookers, which is Mavaka, probably.
Malvaka definitely one of the best hookers in the world. No hate on Malcolm Marx. I love Malcolm Marx, and arguably, I think pre-injury was the best player in the world. He's also still very, very, very good. But Malvaka is just a mobile unit. He can step. He is just unbelievably good. And that's coming from someone that really dislikes France, or the team, the team, the rugby team.
The team. Look,
Um,
look, that's no secret. We can go on and say Antoine Dupont. Nobody's a big fan of Antoine Dupont, especially out of a South African perspective. But is he a quality number nine without a doubt?
Hundred
We can
percent
say the
is.
same thing about if you look at that backline. If you have to pick a dream team and you just list that backline. I mean, it's that backline that is it's almost angelic, lack of a
Yeah.
better term. Romain Intermark, probably I rate him as one of the best attacking fly-offs
Yeah.
currently in world rugby.
Yeah, even if you go through, their tight head, Unio Antonio. I heard he wanted to, or did actually, retire after the World Cup loss. And then came back. I don't know the full story there. Still, he's getting old, but he is a unit. Very, very strong tight head prop. And then they've got Gregory Aldred. Also very, very good eight. Um, he's definitely in the top 10 eights in the world. But I think there's a lot better eights in the world. Antoine Dupont, arguably one of the best players in the world, definitely the best nine in the world. Roman Intermac, like you said.
As a running
Louis
fly-off, I don't think there's anybody better than it.
Louis Bieli Biare, wonder I'll learn how to say that correctly. That guy is on fire. He is just playing a lot of good rugby. He's a very small guy, and as South African, we don't smoke that too much or don't like that too much. But he is very, very good. He's gonna run a line through these guys. It is a pity that
Yeah, I can't get on his
Penau,
name as well. Yeah, the other
Penau,
wing.
the Damien Penau is injured. I would have really liked to see Wainwright tackle the shit out of him. He did put 6 tries on my team, the Sharks, which still hurts a bit. Thomas Ramos, he was dipping in form, but he seems to be coming back up to that standard again now. Cheslin Colby and him, best friends. And then they've got a very good replacement bench, Cyril Bale, who was probably also one of the best lucid props. He scored 2
definitely.
tries against us in the World Cup. I'll be lying if I tell you about the other guys here. I don't really.
But even though if you look at the whole team in whole, I can't see France losing
No.
in this game,
No,
and
no,
they're
no.
gonna win it handsomely. Okay, our second fixture that we've got is
Our second, Scotland and Italy.
I
So
think it's in my opinion should be an easy win for Scotland.
I think it will be. This is not a shit Italy team, though. Ango Capuzzo, he plays for Toulouse. He is very good. We've got Sebastian Nigri, who is the Zimbabwean slash Rhodesian, whatever, born, lucid, loose forward. There is Montiani. There is good players, but I still predict that Scotland are going to put a number on them. I know Scotland are missing their star player in the form of Tia Pilato. Even that, I'm 100% sure I am butchering that name. Sione Tia
Piloto.
Pilato. So
Yeah, look, he was definitely probably one of the better inside centers to come in for the thing. I think the one thing that I'm scared of with for Scotland is Duan van der Merwe. Obviously, 10 days ago had his injury, and now they're playing him ankle injury. I'm just not sure you can recover from an ankle injury that quickly. And I think they're risking Duan van der Merwe in a game. I mean, it is Italy. Rather play a different player. Let him rest that extra week. Make sure that he's in full form when you start playing major opponents. I would have rested him, but I do also see why Scotland would be doing it for the same reason. France is playing a first-tier team against Wales. Maximize your points, maximize your tries,
100%.
get as much bonus points, make your points difference as big as possible, because that might be what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Yeah, Duan van der Merwe, the English Slayer slash South African traitor. To me, he's a brilliant player. Would he have made the Springboks? Probably, maybe not every game. But he is very, very good. But sometimes it feels to me that he's only good against England in the Six Nations. And other games, you forget whether he's on a starting 15 or not. But he is a good player. We only breed good players. Him, Darcy Graham. I'm very Blair Kinghorn is very, very good. There was a time he plays for Toulouse. There was a time where he played Ramos off out of his jersey. So I do think that Blair King on is going to be a very, very influential player in this game. Piers Kuman, another one of our South African born ex-Bulls players, very, very good player. Jamie Ritchie, even it's a bit clubbed him a few times, but he is very, very good. Grant Gilchrist, probably one of the best locks. Definitely not the best lock in the world, but yeah,
I
very.
think the big problem with Scotland, I think Scotland is reliant on a lot of things to go right for them. They need Finn Russell, for example, to be on fire. They need Duan van der Merwe to last the Six Nations, which is going to be difficult at the moment for them. Um, in the fact or in the sense that Finn Russell hasn't been the player that we are used to seeing. He hasn't been the informed fly-off. If you take Finn Russell 3-4 years ago, probably came onto the scene small fly off, but he was magnanimous. He was just everywhere. His work rate was high. At the moment, it feels like he's playing a bit on past reputation, and I think that might be the problem for Scotland. But I feel that Scotland, Wales, and Italy are all sitting with the same problem. The development is just not there anymore. It's just small nations, passionate nations when it comes to the game. But in general, I feel that if you look at Scotland, Wales, Italy, there's just not enough players to come through the ranks. They become too reliant on their players to play till they're 30, 40 years old.
I do think that Scotland won't have the worst Six Nation. I do think it is a very good squad. I won't be surprised if they do win a few of those games where they are destined to lose, like the Ireland. I don't think they'll beat Ireland, but you never know. We've had a few surprise games last Six Nations, but yeah, I don't think. I can't see Scotland winning it. But yeah, I think this is probably the best team. I'm excited for George Horn coming off the bench. He is obviously a very, very good nine. Plays for Glasgow Warriors, who is coached by probably one of the best coaches out there in the form of Franco Smith. So yeah, I don't think they'll win, but they probably won't have the worst Six Nations.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I agree with that fully. I definitely agree with that. Okay, and
Um,
then the last match for the weekend, with regards to the Six Nations, it's England versus Ireland.
Ireland and England. Now this is probably the match of the weekend. So I know Ireland are definitely the favourites for this, and they are playing at home. But to me, Ireland are a old team. They are um, not in the form they used to be at all. And England have beaten them at home in the previous Six Nations. I just need to double check that. I'm fairly certain that is correct. Um, and yeah, I just think that Ireland are on a downward slope. They are playing without their coach Andy Farrell, who is away for the British and Irish Lions. I don't know what impact that will have. Um, but yeah, Ireland have England at home, they have Scotland away, Wales away, France at home, and Italy away. They probably will. They're probably the favourites to win the Six Nations. If they do, it'll definitely not be a Grand Slam, or in my opinion, won't be a Grand Slam.
I think the main factor that's gonna take effect here is with Ireland and France especially is the fact that they're playing 3 games away
Yeah,
compared to the 2 home. Where
yeah,
England, for example, are playing 3 games home.
yeah.
I
If,
I
yeah,
think I think I think Ireland's gonna lose it. It's gonna be very, very small.
yeah.
I just think that England just have that desire.
Marcus Smith. You see, if you look at at Ireland's last few games, I've just opened it up in front of me. You can sort of see the downward slope. So they beat Australia and I mean, let's be honest,
A battling Australia.
definitely. They beat Fiji 52-17. Well done. They beat Argentina. And Argentina are not in a bad form. Then in fact they're in a very good form.
A game that was also a bit controversial there.
100%. I was just gonna say that I actually thought that Argentina was supposed to win that game.
Yeah.
I can't give Ireland too many shots because Argentina did beat us as well.
Yeah.
New Zealand gave them a proper hiding. South Africa, that little ginger dog with his penalty or his drop
Top
goal.
goal, yeah. You can't say
One
ginger
game.
dog when you are a ginger as well.
Then obviously we beat them. They beat Scotland with what? What's that? 5 points, 4 points.
Look,
Um,
the problem with Ireland is they're getting the results. That's
yeah,
the problem. Whether it's by 1 point, I mean, it wasn't too long ago. Last year, I believe there was a team that won the World Cup playing every game, winning by 1 point. So,
yeah. But I think
um,
that is also the best team in the world. But yes, I understand what you're saying. I agree. But I just feel like Ireland are on a downward spiral. If you look at the teams, I mean, you got Andrew Porter, who is probably one of the deadliest scrummagers in the world. Keller, who is probably should have retired last season already. Beelem, who is probably not probably, he is definitely the ugliest player in world rugby at the moment. They've got very good locks, Ryan and Ben.
the loose
Pierre,
forwards are world class with
yeah,
Van der Vliet and Doris
yeah,
and Baird and stuff. It's look, they're a proper outfit. It's
yes,
that team that nobody likes, but they're
yeah,
always good to watch.
yeah, they
That's the
are.
problem with Ireland.
Mm,
I do feel that they did make a bit of a mistake. I feel I would have started Crowley ahead of Prendergast. I just don't see
Yeah,
Prendergast
Pendergast
be
is
a
in
game
good form.
changer.
Um, you know, Crowley is also the hero of Munster, but um, I probably would have started Crowley over Pendergast as well. But most people will probably disagree with us because I know that Pendergast is also he's very young. I think he's 20 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Pendergast.
So
Let me just
probably
check that.
building towards the field.
Um,
But Crowley
but yeah, if you go through it,
isn't that old either.
um,
Look, they've definitely got the talent
sorry, yeah, 21 years old. Very very young.
With Sexton
But
leaving.
if you go through the team, they've got the Karen Doris, people everyone argue that he is the best eight in the world. Definitely one of the best eights in the world. Um, I just think the best eight in the world has only had one Springbok cap and played 10 minutes of international rugby, which is um, fuck. Okay, cut ideal.
Ja, net aan.
Sorry, wat is zijn naam nou? Fuck it. Letterlijk mijn favorite speler of all time. Hier staat ik nou zeker moest blanken. Fuck. The fuck. Cameron Hanekom. I think the best eight in the world is Cameron Hanekom. I know it's early to judge. He's a very young player. Doesn't have a lot of international or test rugby, behind his name. But I just honestly think that he is going to be a game changer. At the moment, um, um, on test level, Caden Doris is probably the best eight in the world. Van der Vlier, he used to be very good. He's still very, very good. But there was a time where he was just a machine. I know a lot of people think with that surname he's South African. We wish he was. He's not. But he is very good.
He's
Jameson
Dutch.
Gibson. Yeah. Jameson Gibson Park. Also, if it wasn't for Antoine de Pont, everyone would have, without a doubt, said that he is the best nine in the Northern Hemisphere. Very, very good player. But also on the wrong side of 30. So
But he had to play behind his replacement for the game for a long time as well, because
yeah,
Andy Murray was also one of the greats of the game.
yeah, I
So it is a difficult scenario. But then again, being in Ireland's position, where you've got probably in your team, in your starting lineup, your starting nine, your reserve nine, probably,
yeah,
being two scrum halves that would easily slot into the top 10 scrum halves currently playing the game.
yeah.
It's a
He's,
very,
he's
very privileged position to be in.
yeah. He's only 32. I don't know why I thought he was 34. But yeah, regardless, very good player. Um,
Who's this?
you know,
James Lowe.
no, James Lowe, James in Gibson Park.
Yeah.
Um, very, very good player. And then we move on to Pendergast, like we've already discussed. He is a brilliant player. I don't really know how much experience he's got under the Ireland belt. As far as I know, not too long ago, he was playing for the emerging Ireland team.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see. Let's see how he does. It is a big game for him. And he's going up against Marcus Smith, who, in my opinion, is definitely the best 10 in the Northern Hemisphere. I think, a very exciting player, and I think the matchup is going to be, very good. Then we've got Bandiaki, who used to be in very good form, is sloped for me. Bandiaki, one of the three best players of Ireland that don't come from Ireland. Gary Ringrose, another one of the players that also I think used to be in a much better form. As far as I remember, he was injured, and when he came back from injury, he just wasn't the Gary Ringrose that we know, the Gary
Yeah,
Ringrose from the
no, I
2023
agree.
World
I
Cup.
agree definitely.
James Lowe, yeah, love or hate the guy, he is a brilliant player.
I think he just needs to learn some modesty. He's a very pedantic, very self-centered player.
Yeah,
He himself thinks he's a lot better than he actually is.
yeah,
Is he a class act? Yes. Just let your skills on the field show that you're a class act.
yeah,
The crowd entertainment and the building up of the crowd, let the DJ or the presenter or stuff do that. Just play the game, because you're looking a bit like a bit like a, it's I wanted to say something mean now, but I think it's a bit of a disgrace to the game when you've got somebody that thinks he's a model that's on the field.
yeah,
Just play the game, and do on the field what you're supposed to do, and
yeah,
stop with your antics.
yeah. We won't hate on every player. We promise that. James Lowe is a brilliant player. Hugo Keenan, arguably one of the best fullbacks in the world. He is very good. There's no denying that. And I think he's still, youngish. Yeah, he's still got a lot of years on him. But to me, yeah, he's only 28 years old.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah,
so basically in the whole Ireland backline, he's probably one of the few guys that would actually realistically be in the next World Cup. I think, Bandiaki's on the closer side of 35. James James Lowe's on the closer side of 35.
yeah,
I just don't see Ireland building enough towards a 2027 World Cup, and that's something that's concerning for me.
yeah,
And if they're gonna go into the World Cup, I mean, you can't go into a World Cup with Bandiaki being 38.
yeah, 100%.
Especially if you look at the younger players that are produced by the other top tier nations, like England, South Africa,
Yeah,
New Zealand, Australia, and those kind of things. I feel, they need to kind of start building on it. And it seems
yeah,
like they're just using players now to sell tickets and get stadiums full. I don't see Ireland going triple crown on this. I do feel they're going to lose their match against England this weekend, and I don't
which,
think it's
yeah,
going to be big. I think it's going to be a point or two. If
yeah,
if it's more than 5 points either way, I'd be very surprised.
yeah. I won't be surprised if they win. In fact, I know that they are the favourites for this. I'll be very disappointed if they do, because I do think that England have it in them to win this. They can win this.
Stay at home, playing at
Uh,
Twickenham at a full.
no, they're playing in Aviva. It's this is Ireland. Ireland is at home.
Oh, so it's their home game. Yeah, then it's going to be
Yeah,
a tall order, I think, for England. But I
yeah,
still would back England. I think the hunger for England's just there. I think
yeah.
they've
I
gone
think,
through
yeah,
themselves, going through a bit of a slump,
yeah.
and
I
and
think
being back now.
I think it's Ireland, definitely the favourites for this. I'm just hoping that England can pull it through. I don't know why I'm vouching for England, or hoping that they win as South African. It's probably
But let's
I'll probably
let's
get
let's hope for the tie then.
reserve, but I hope England win. No, I think they can do it.
Yeah.
I honestly think, and I think this is probably one of England's. One of, if not the most difficult game of their campaign. If
Yes.
they are aiming to win the Six Nations, this will obviously be a very good start for them. And then obviously the last player that we forgot to mention in the starting 15 is Mac Hansen, which is probably one of my favorite players. He's a very funny guy, bit whiny sometimes, but I do like him. Very, very funny guy. A very good player. And he's only 26 years old, 27, 26 years old, and I
So
think
they literally have a starting backline, 7 players, and only 3 of them are under 30. and the rest of them are close to 35.
I do think that Ireland do need to look at probably a bit more
Youth.
development. And I think that's what they're trying with Pendergast, but that's one position. So yeah,
Let's
let's see.
let's let's have a look at the English side.
The
What are
English
what are they
side.
pulling out of that there?
2 seconds. English. So English side, they have Ellis Gench as the vice captain. I didn't, usually teams don't really announce their vice captain, but he is a very good player as well. I really do like him. I think that it is his chance. With yes,
Doji.
Jabadat.
Yep.
What is his name?
That.
Uh, um, anyways, he's got a chance to
against Porter.
no, he'll go up against Bilam, but man, I forget that was his name. Ted Furlong, that's his name. Yes, he's injured, so he's out, and he makes the. Furlong is usually in the queue behind. Bilam is behind the queue in
Behind Furlong, yes.
behind Furlong. So I do think that Ellis Genj has a good chance to make a
Look,
difference in that scrum.
if I quickly look at it, I just think there's just a lot more firepower in the English side at the moment, and
Yeah,
I
they've got
think that
a lot of exciting
they've got a
players.
lot of experience. They've probably got, for me, England probably has the second best hooker in the tournament. To be brutally honest, I think Cowan Dickey is a fantastic hooker. I
I don't
think
know
the
if
only
I would.
person that's ahead of him would probably be Movaka. I rate him a lot higher. I think England have their locks are just as strong as the Irish locks. The only problem that England will be facing, and this is just my opinion, they're very whiny players. They tend to do very idiotic things. They've got more curry in their team than a Mumbai Bazaar. And then
Yes,
I wouldn't have started one of the Curry brothers. I think they're probably two of the most overrated loose forwards currently in World Rugby. And I wouldn't have. I don't rate them highly. Tom Curry is a very whiny player. He tends to complain and all that. I think with the solution that you have with a Cunningham South on the bench, that's an easy start for me.
yeah,
Cunningham South should have should have worn the number 6
yeah,
jersey off that.
yeah.
I wouldn't, based on the team, I wouldn't change anything. Finn Smith, breakthrough talent, like we discussed before the show, breakthrough talent. But do you want to start a player like that against Ireland? It would be a suicide mission, you know, for somebody like Finn Smith. Start your more experienced players. Marcus Smith tends to get under players' skins. He's quick. His kicks are precise. He's a calculated player. Um, and I think I just can't see England. And I think if I have to say where England would have a weaker point, I think where they lose forwards. I think they lose forwards just are not as strong as the Irish lose forwards.
Yeah, they've got Tom Willis that comes off from the bench. I think is going to be sort of a impact player, and they've got Cunningham South, who is a unbelievable player. As far as the starting 15 goes, I don't know if I would put Cohen Dickey over
Yeah, Dan.
not here Dan Dan Sheehan. So I know Dan Sheehan's not playing, but I'm not the biggest fan. Then we got Will Stewart, Maro Itaje. There was a big argument between him and Eben, or who's better. Obviously.
That's not even a discussion, to be honest. Itoje is a
Yeah,
good
it
player
was a
in
few
his
years
own
ago,
right.
but he is getting form again. I'm very happy that he's the captain, of England. I know that a lot of the English fans are very happy that he's the captain of England. He is a good player. There's no denying
But
that.
if you look
George
at,
Martin unit. What a unit. Then yeah, there's
there's too much curry in the
it
team.
does look like a Durban-based team with all the curry in it. Um, I don't have a problem with either of the players. But I probably would have started Tom Willis and had one of the Curry brothers come off the bench. But yeah, I can see what he's trying to do. Um, um, so yeah. Then Ben Earl at 8, I think he's a class player. Alex Mitchell at 9, is there anyone else? He's probably, you know, their
Yeah,
first
Freddie
choice. No,
Stewart.
definitely their first.
You
Not
know,
very
this
good.
is the thing
Marcus Smith, I
with the
cannot
six.
rave on about Marcus Smith. Probably
Enough.
one of my favorite players in the Six Nation. He is an unbelievable player. He is
Yes, for
very
sure.
good, and I think the whole of England is just worse when he's not on the field. I think I might have my facts wrong, but they were leading against us, if I'm not mistaken, until Marcus Smith was taken off. So I honestly feel like he is a class player. Ollie Lawrence, very very good. Tommy Freeman, Freddie Stewart, they really do have. Um,
No, look,
um,
they're back three as well for both Island
yeah. And
and
I think Finn Smith is going to do well coming off the bench as well. I think this is his chance. I know that in England there's a big argument, whether um, or there was a argument made for Finn Smith starting at 10 and benching Marcus Smith. I'm glad they went with Marcus Smith, but I'm also very excited for Finn Smith.
look,
Coming up.
at the end of the day, if you sit in a position where you have arguments about choosing the players, that means you've got good players in all the positions, and that's good for
Yeah.
England. Let's quickly do this then. Early Six Nation predictions. Let's do early Six
So
Nation predictions. Who do you think is going to win the six?
So it is very early to say, but all it is predictions, and I probably will be wrong. Um, I think England pulls it out. I honestly do. I don't think they do a Grand Slam. I think they lose against France, even though they're playing France at home. But I think England do it. I think England they'll play Ireland away, and I honestly hope they will win it. Obviously there is a massive chance that they won't. But if they win that game, to me, I think they win the Six Nations. I think they'll lose to France. I think they'll beat Scotland. Even though Scotland seem to be, the English slayers sometimes in the Six Nations. They'll definitely beat Italy and they'll definitely beat Wales. They've got Italy at home, and they've got Wales away. So I think England does it. I think if they don't, there might be another coach coming for Steve Borthwick's job. I heard rumors that Michael Cheika might be. I know that he's just ended his contract with Leicester. So there's those arguments that he might take over. Um, you know,
Yeah.
uh,
I'm also gonna go with England. I think England edge it. I do think they're gonna have a clean sweep though. I think
yeah,
they've got a good tour. They're playing most of their other oppositions at home. France, Scotland playing at home. Ireland away is gonna be the tricky one. If they can pull that one out of that, I think England
yeah,
can win this
yeah,
nations without a doubt.
yeah,
Um, I can't see it going any other way at the moment.
yeah.
Okay.
In second,
Play Yeah, player base. What are you thinking? Who do you think? Which players do we need to watch out for? Which players do you think is gonna have a good season? I'm
so
obviously rooting for. I think Cunningham South is gonna be a breakthrough
yeah,
player.
yes, 100%.
Ben Smith has the potential to stand out at the end of the season as maybe cementing even a space in the British and Irish Lions
Yeah,
squad. Um, Obviously you look at it. Scotland has a very very dangerous backline. If they get going. Um,
yeah,
you look at Ireland's got a very balanced team. You've got England that's got a very balanced team. And for some unknown reason, if the French are going to pitch up on the day, and they
yeah,
decide and let's say Intermuck pitches up on the day and he starts
yeah.
getting that backline away, whoever
Yeah.
they're playing against, it's just going to be a
So
disastrous day for
yeah,
them.
player of the tournament for me, I think there's a lot of options. You've got Kalen Doris, who is definitely the eighth in the world in form at the moment. You've got Anton de Pont. The Europeans will drink his bathwater if they could. So he probably will get a nomination. Um, Pendergast, I honestly think he is someone to watch out. Like you said, coming himself, even Tom Willis. I think there's a argument to be made for either of them. It's very early to say, but I think they will all have very good Six Nations. But for me, had to predict, I think Marcus Smith is going to cut through teams. I do think he is a very smart player, and he just knows what to do with the ball and when to do it. So
Yes.
that is the player that I would vote for. But like I said, it's a very big tournament, a very good tournament with with a lot of very good players. So it can go either or.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
think for the Six Nations, looking forward to the Six Nations. What we're also gonna do, Renty and myself, will be a combined team, combining, putting at the end of the Six Nations, we'll have a breakdown of which players we choose from 1 to 15, and which players stood out for us, and there will be a discussion about that. Club competitions we're going to put on the back burner for now because there is a bit of a break in them. I think they start playing the weekend after next, the 14th again. So we'll recap the EPCR, the Champions Cup, and the UFC a bit closer to that. In the next episode, we might take on some changes that might be coming there, injuries and stuff, when we've got a clear indication after their bit of a break who's playing and who's not playing. If we look at basic news at the moment, Renty, I mean,
I heard that Franco Smith might be leaving the Glasgow Warriors and going to Leicester. I don't know how true that is. It's just something that I read. Peter Steptoe's contract is being suspended with his Japan team, but as far as I understand, it's only because the Japanese teams, and I might be corrected, are only allowed to have three players that are internationally capped players are not from Japan, and because that Steve Hansen because he's injured at the moment and he'll probably only be back in May. They have suspended his contract to make space for whoever.
a replacement. Look, Franco is a big loss if he does go. I wouldn't mind him coming back to side like the Lions or the Stormers. He could actually have value in a South African perspective.
Let me just pick your brain on this, Timo. So, out of all the teams, and that's actually something we forgot to mention. I don't know if you've noticed that Italy, France, and England have all three went for a 6-2 split, which was apparently very controversial, especially if you ask Matt Williams a few months ago. I know that Rassi didn't start it, but he has definitely popularized it. And now it seems like everyone is doing it.
Yeah, it was going to be inevitable. It's a system that works. If your players are well managed and are on form, it's a logical thing. If you're playing Northern Hemisphere rugby, especially because the Northern Hemisphere rugby is very forwards orientated, it just makes logical sense to do that. It makes logical sense that England went that route. You know, the Irish are good in the front.
Yeah.
I do think that England gonna have to boost their ranks with that.
Yeah.
I do think it was inevitable. What's funny and ironic for me is that two of the nations implementing it now are the nations that complain the most about it.
Yes.
And that it
Yes.
wasn't in the spirit of the game and all the stuff. And
Injury
now that
prone and all of
yeah,
that.
and now they're doing it. So at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Welcome to
And
the.
then
All I'm going to say is welcome to the party.
Another point is as the Six Nations series has been cancelled. I know the second season will be released on Netflix, but as far as I know, the third season is cancelled, which is a good thing because it was very bad. I did try and finish it. I watched the first 2 episodes. I love rugby. We have started the podcast on the Six Nations, which is not even one of our teams are playing, even though half our team players are playing in Scotland or half of us. But I do love where there's northern or southern
up
hemisphere
until
rugby.
up until you mentioned the Six Nations series on Netflix last night when we were prepping for the show. Up until you mentioning that, I didn't even fucking know.
You don't have to watch it. I know that
No,
it was very
I have no desire or plan to watch that
yeah.
at all.
It's just very constructed. If that's the better term. It's they show Warren Gatland having coffee with his wife and having the most scripted conversation ever.
You see, they
They-
had success with Drive to Survive from Formula One. and that's
which
fantastic.
is
And then they try
brilliant.
to mimic it on everything, and
Yes.
it's just a bit of a
Yeah.
disaster. I mean,
Uh,
uh, the coaches, most of the coaches that's coaching in the northern hemisphere
yeah.
have the personality of an exam pad,
Yeah.
so you can't really expect that. One thing that I have to add before we close off, Salman Murat leaving the Stormers.
Good.
I think it's the best news that I have heard in the last 5 years of rugby. To be brutal, I think he's an overrated player. He's a below average captain. He doesn't bring any value
Yeah.
to the team at
Yeah.
all. And then lastly, injuries that you were
Ulrich
concerned
Lowe,
about.
Ulrich Lowe, it is very sad to see Ulrich Lowe injured, and it looks like it's going to be a long-term injury. It looks very bad. When I was watching the game when it happened, and I honestly, I could feel it through the TV. It's very bad. I hope it doesn't derail or halt his career too much. We've got. I hope he's ready for the Springboks. I don't know if he will be. It's probably very early to say. But Ulrich Lowe is a monster. The Bulls. I'm not a Bull. I'm a Shark. But the Bulls, without a doubt, have the best forwards.
Yeah, look, like we said, Arno Botha back in the day, same situation. Minimal ball caps, was making his mark, got an injury, and he just never came back the same. I do think, Ulrich seems like he's a different breed, so he'll probably come
Yeah,
back stronger and
yeah.
and more and
Uh,
I think.
Timo, I see him as a future Springbok captain, and that might be controversial, but I honestly do. He's very young. I think that Siya Kolisi won't make a next World Cup. I think Eben will take the reins from him, and after Eben, I think it's Ulrich. I know it's early stages to say, but he is. I mean, he's captained the Bulls many times before. He is a class player and a leader by nature. So I do think that he will be our future Springbok captain eventually.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, very very sad. Um, so just before we end it off, Timo, I'd just like to ask you, or pick your brain on one more thing. Wooden spoon. So obviously we've got two main contenders. This Six Nations, which will probably be the team that has received it more than any other team in the Six Nations, which is Italy. And then the team that are just in very 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 bad form at the moment, Wales. Um,
I
your
think
prediction on that?
I think Wales gonna take the win. I think I just think that there's just not enough going for Wales,
Yeah.
and I think
And we
um,
hope we hope it changes, but yeah, I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. I
Wales,
cannot.
Wales, much like Australia, is going to be on a journey now. They've
Yeah.
got a journey to rebuild. I think the problem that Wales has in me, their coach is too old-fashioned. He hasn't adapted to the changes. He hasn't
Yeah.
adapted to new players. He hasn't enough. And then if you take that into consideration, I think he's Wales' problem is the coach has reached the end of his career, but for
Yeah.
some unknown reason, the Welsh aren't seeing it.
Yeah.
So I do think, you know, based based on that, I feel, wooden spoon has to go to Wales.
Yeah.
I do think Italy will probably beat them. That's going to be an immense game to watch because they definitely, compared to the other four teams in the Six Nations, I just don't see them on par at all.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be a race for last place between Italy and Wales, but I think Wales will win the wooden spoon.
Yeah.
Two hands. I don't even
Yes.
think they really
Um,
have a lot of competition.
interesting fact: England and Ireland are the only two teams in the Six Nations that have never had a wooden spoon. And if Ireland do win the Six Nations, which there's a high probability that they will be on par with England to have the most Six Nation trophies, which Ireland has six at the moment, which is second best, tied with France and Wales, and England has seven trophies at the moment, which puts them on the top. Um, so yeah, it's going to be a very very good competition.
Yeah,
Last year's
I think I'm going to stick to my picks there. I think England win it. I think they'd have a clean sweep. They win all their games.
yeah,
And
I'm a,
I think
I'm
Wales is not going to.
yeah. I'm hopeful that England win it, and I think they can win it. But you know, the odds are in Ireland or France's favor. So let's see. I don't know if you want to do just a quick URC run over. I don't know you can put a timestamp here.
I think I think we run it on the next show
Okay, that's
when
fine.
we're closer to the matches.
That's
We don't
fine.
want
And
to bore our people with our immense knowledge of the game too long.
yes,
But
and we also we are. I know that we do come off as assholes, fighting, but there's actually a lot that we like about the Northern Hemisphere and the Six Nations, even though it seems like we hate most of it, which is not true.
but then again, we are South Africans, so we are a bit
Yeah.
pedantic in that sense. So
Yeah, we are just angry people by nature. On Monday, we will release our second episode where we will be doing reviews on the games that transpired. Um,
it will
so
be the
yeah,
games that transpired, the injuries that we might have picked up, and all the juicy stuff like that. It will be our Monday podcast will be a lot shorter than our Friday podcasts. So
yeah,
because it's just going to purely be reviews, so unless something interesting happens, like Anton de Pont getting knocked out by somebody or basic stuff like that. But
yeah.
I
But we
think
we also don't hate Anton de Pont, brilliant player, brilliant
I just
player.
don't like him very much. He's a frustration to watch,
He's a bit of a
especially
whiny player.
when he plays against South Africa. The rest of
Yeah,
the times I really don't care.
yeah,
But when he plays against South Africa, I really
yeah,
despise him. But yeah,
yeah. But hey, he's playing in a division that we can only dream for playing. But yeah, thank you guys very very much.
we'll see you guys again then on.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Cheers, cheers.